I tell my team all the time that when you look at a platform, you have to play by their rules. And as much as you want to create something that may be just so creatively yours, there is a rubric on how to be successful in social media.
Hi, I'm Josh Owen. As the owner of a video marketing company in New Orleans, I've been on the quest to learn everything I can about marketing. Everyone has a different style, different strategy, and a different experience. Is there a wrong way to do it? A right way to do it? Let's find out together as we make marketing make sense. We have Tiffany with us today. And then Tiffany, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
For sure. My name is Tiffany Langlinais. I am a local marketing boutique agency here in New Orleans. It's going on the 9th year of my business. I work with a very amazing team. We're all female. It didn't happen that way in a pointed manner. It just happened to shake out that way. But love my team. We're all local here. And we work with different businesses from food and beverage to helicopter companies, mosquito control products, down to personal injury attorneys, which we just filmed a bunch of commercials this week, and 100-degree weather, and he insisted on wearing a mink coat. So it's fun every single day, but we work with clients that outsource marketing to us, and a lot of it is social media.
Nice. And so when you're saying like social media and marketing, like I guess what in specific would you say is your go-to strategy?
So as of, how the current trends are going these days, you see a lot of things are video oriented. You see a lot that whenever you get onto a social media platform, because a lot of people are making their informed decisions on their smartphones, that you're getting pushed videos constantly. And you see more of that than the static posts that you may have seen before, which is just, a photo, a still image, and it reels you in quite literally, as they're called, reels or TikToks now. And what we've been doing with our clients is pushing them more into that space and creating just this whole commercial short and being able to paint the idea of who the company is in these relatable formats and recognizing different trends that are happening and capitalizing upon it so that these people see the company in a different light and may purchase something or support them in some way.
And so I heard you say the word trend, is this the kind of content that you're really honing in on in specific? Is honing in on trends in specific?
For sure. I tell my team all the time that when you look at a platform, you have to play by their rules. And as much as you want to create something that may be just so creatively yours, there is a rubric on how to be successful in social media. For instance, if there is a quote unquote trending sound, a trending visual element, different filters or whatnot, and you recognize it and you start seeing more and more of it, then it's a light bulb moment of being able to take that and give it to your client or make some sort of special thing for it to highlight on it and, hopefully have it explode and then go from there.
Right. It's like I hear these words trend and there's all these different things on these platforms. Like you got the trending sounds, you got a trending style. People are talking Wes Anderson, they're talking this, they're talking that. But what are is it ingredients for a trending video or a video that successfully matches a trend? Is it the sound? Is it the visual? What are the elements that you need? If you're creating an ingredient list, what would it be?
I very much have a checklist for my team. And when we're working and we're talking about different things, we know that we need to pick trending music. If there is a certain sound that continues to show itself in the algorithm, then you recognize, okay, this is starting to pick up speed. I want to jump on this. You mentioned Wes Anderson, and that was such a huge trend, and it's still going at this point, but it may be starting to peter out. But recognizing that there's a certain color palette that's associated with it, a certain style of how people act and walk and transition between different frames on a reel. Also using this certain sound bite that's associated with it too. And using all of those usually creates a successful recipe for it. And, there may be times where you could take it and try it a little bit differently, but it's going to be case by case basis according to, what brand, what client, what audience that they're trying to reach, so that they can make it as accessible for their audience.
Right. So when you say like, you have all these ingredients, like what is it about trends that makes them so successful? Like what when you're working with your clients, like when you see the success, like what do you attribute that success to?
A part of it is that we are such consumers of media. And when we see something we like, we tend to want to see more of it. It's just as if you buy a shirt that you like and then you want to buy it in all the colors. You want to see more of it. You want to see slightly different versions of it. So when you see something, that comes up and you enjoy it, then you're like, oh, okay. And you keep scrolling and you want to see more of it. And the algorithm recognizes that you're consuming more of this media. Then it's just a human reaction to get more of what you want. You like fries, you keep on eating more fries until you're sick of it. And then you move on to the next thing.
Man, you know my life so well. Well, what about, okay, so talking, on that same front, like, are there specific trends you're thinking about right now? How soon do you need to, like start recognizing this thing in the future? And is there anything in specific that you're kind of already working your wheels towards?
Sure. So, we're in the height of summer right now. And one of the things that you may be recognizing is that you've been seeing a lot of Barbie things. And it's because there's a very big Barbie movie coming out July 21st. And so we're just under a month out. And what that is, recognizing immediately this is going to be a big pop cultural phenomenon and people will be commenting on this. So jump on the bandwagon now. And it has been happening previously, weeks leading up to this. But you'll notice you'll get more and more Barbie content and even more. And then it will continue to surge as the movie comes forward and then eventually peter out at a certain point. But you'll recognize and you'll see it that different brands are coming out with branded Barbie merchandise, branded Barbie luggage, the sounds from the movies, the soundtracks, anything that can be Barbie related. That's a hint right now. You should be, for every single person, your brand, even for personal content, Barbie is going to be the way to go. And recognizing that and making sure that you see these moments, when you are sitting there and you're like, oh, I see a lot of this. It's like, that's an automatic reaction. Okay, you're seeing a lot of it. This is something that is moving forward. Get onto this and push forward with it.
That's crazy. It's like, I feel like the whole society at large had this collective release of like, because it's been like years since Barbie was a thing, and then all of a sudden I thought it was a joke at first. I didn't think this was like I was like, oh, this must be like a fake thing that somebody created, but then it just kept coming and coming, and I feel like people are just so suddenly ready for this, and it's kind of shocked that this thing is happening. But I guess like when you're looking at Barbie content, what do you have to do to prepare for that? Like what are you preparing your team to do to get this content ready? Like are you like already like planning out content now, or are you just gonna wait, or like how does that work?
So there's a couple of different sound bits that I've recognized popping up on my feed and my customers, my clients' feeds too, because I'm in many different accounts. So I get so many different feeds of content, and all of them are different. But recognizing, that there are certain songs on the soundtrack to the movie, and that they're being cut into small bits so that you can use those sound bits, because people will be searching for this, or it will continue to get more and more popularity as the movie comes. And understanding that there may be things that are not necessarily Barbie themed, but things that are pink, things that are glittery, things that are, insert whatever that is Barbie related that you could use, and it could have the momentum because it is correlated with the overall Barbie overarching theme. But you look at it and you see what makes sense for your audience,
Right.
and how they would resonate with it.
Interesting. And it's like, so, I think that's a good point. Is like you're talking about a lot of these different things that you're working towards, but as someone who, may not have the experience that you have, like, what would you say to that person that wants to get involved, especially, they're like, oh, shoot, like now I know I got to get on this Barbie trend. Like, what would you say are some like things that you would tell them to do if they, necessarily didn't have their own marketing experience, or maybe they're a marketer that, isn't really experienced on the TikTok side of things / Instagram Reel side of things? Like, what would you say to them to kind of like say, here's the things that I would start doing?
So things to consider would be noticing that when you go on TikTok, there is TikTok viral. You literally can click on the songs and it tells you what are the top 10 in the world. And you can click on them and see what, if you like any particular songs, chances are they're performing well. So possibly your video could perform well as well if you attach it to it. For your average person, I really encourage people just to look at what's on their feed and what's being pushed to them. There's features on Instagram, on TikTok, and whatnot where you can use a template and create a reel that is similar to what you want and attach the sound to it just by looking up, there's a new rap song on the Barbie soundtrack, and it's by Nicki Minaj.
Oh, wow. Coming back. All
Yeah,
right.
Nicki
Yeah.
Minaj.
Yeah, I love it.
I've watched the music video quite a lot, and I was like,
Oh,
what
snap.
can we take out of
Okay.
this and use
Whoa.
this marketing wise? But using that and then just clipping to what their suggested template cuts are. All you have to do is just drop it in there, and then you could post a reel itself. Just very easy peasy like that.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point too. Like, a lot of these people too are trying to figure out how to make things easy. What are other ways to also just make it easier? Make this like not necessarily. A lot of people I feel daunted. They're like, oh man, I gotta because you're just describing which is more kudos to you. It's like most people are probably watching that Nicki Minaj video going, yeah, that's awesome, and you're like, all right, yeah, but how can I use this? And it's like some people that don't want to do that, all of that, deep intense research, like what are some simple ways for them to reduce the workload and make it easier in that process?
So one thing for these platforms are great for is also consumption of lessons. You can literally type into your search bar for Instagram and TikTok, even Google, whatnot. But a lot of people these days, there's an article that just came out talking about how people are using TikTok as their Google search now. They'll be like, how to change a tire. I literally looked up or my sister called me the other day and she said, Tiffany, did you see the TikTok I sent you? I was like, no. She said, I have probably 100 TikToks that I need to watch from her. And she said, Venmo has a new feature right now. I was like, okay, what is it? And she said, when you go in there, you can now, instead of calculating, like you go to dinner with 5 people and the bill is $100, and you can do the math easily for $100, but instead of having to write out what the amount is and divide it by however much, Venmo will do it for you. So you put the amount in and you can add the people, and then it can request that amount from them already.
Wow.
So I was like, well, okay,
Man,
great.
Venmo's been needing that feature for forever. I've been waiting, where was that? I was like, SNL is going to have no more skits to write about, at this point, that was like a whole thing.
So she called me and she was just like, hey, did you see it? I was like, you just sent me the video like 2 seconds ago. And she goes, well, I just used it. I want you to know about it. And I said, okay, great. Now I know that I can do that. It's a learning platform, not just a silly dance platform that it almost initially came out to be, but you typing in there like how to make a reel or like beginner tutorial for insert whatever. And there are creators that will literally walk you through, and it's like, okay, you're just getting started. Here's some tips. How do you do this? They'll show you screenshots. They'll do an entire film capture of what it looks like on their screen, and dumb it down, make it super easy for anyone to do. And it's so accessible because anybody can look this up.
Do you think it's like brands could benefit from just also, like, for instance, that Venmo thing, like if you're like a bank or something and like just reposting that for your audience, like those tips and stuff? Do you think that's like a viable thing to do?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime that there's a new change to a platform, be it a bank, be it like insert any business, brand or whatnot, down to like I mentioned, like Barbie luggage, the people showing you how to use the luggage, what the secret compartments are, what's the best way to whatever, a whole tutorial of it. It benefits everyone. People love a how-to series, and especially when it is shown to them versus them given as a manual and you have to read the many different ways to use it. You could watch a 10-second video, because actually I got a standing desk not too long ago. First time I ever got a standing desk.
I've been needing one of those too, so yeah.
I don't ever stand at it. But
Why did you get it?
I actually got a walking treadmill to go with it.
Snap! You're going all in.
I'm trying. I sit at my desk for way too long. But the problem is like when I walk on my walking treadmill, that my design movements have to be very precise. So I just stopped and sat down and had to, because we're doing things on Photoshop and whatnot. But looking at it, instead of reading the directions for the actual, construction instructions of the standing desk, I looked up on YouTube since they had some videos, and I literally just went through the entire visual process. And I know I could look at the manual, but a person walked me through how to put the desk together, and I saw what they did versus like a little sketch of what was happening, and I got it done in no time flat. And I would prefer a visual format in that manner versus it written as a manual to me, because there's so much interpretation for like, okay, they said do this, and it's like, how do I do that? And then I see it in a video, and that's in their YouTube channel, and I was like, great, that's awesome. So the visual part, and I think that so much of us are visual learners, and it makes it easy for people to not have to have such room for interpretation.
Right. No, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, I think too, my whole thing is like being able to make, because for brands to be able to that experience that you had with your sister, and being able to, as a brand, be that sister that provides this information to their audience, and so that their people, so then everyone's sister sends this stuff to their sister, and then they're all coming back to your brand. That's the hope and dream, I think, is to make sure that you're getting people to share your content like that, like that you're like, that's free marketing, that your sister just did for somebody, so for Venmo, shout out to Venmo. No, but yeah, so long story short, though, I mean, I think this has all been really great stuff. And so fantastic having you on and sharing all these nuggets of knowledge, Tiffany. At this point, do you have anything in particular? Where can we find you? Anything you want to shout out in specific?
Sure. Thank you, Josh, and the rest of Comfystone for having me. I own Freret Napoleon, F-R-E-R-E-T, Napoleon, N-A-P-O-L-E-O-N. It's a little funny thinking about it. I don't ever really refer to my company name. I always let my company clients' work speak for itself, so I almost forget what my company name is sometimes, because they'll be like, let me see your stuff. I'm like, okay, go to this client versus here is the company name. But you can follow us on Instagram at Freret Napoleon. Check us out, FretNapoleon.com. And the main thing is that I like to tell people all the time is we're always in a learning atmosphere. I can tell you whenever TikToks came out and Reels came out, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, am I going to do this? Because initially I didn't do anything like this. It was much more traditional marketing when I started my company, doing press releases, traditional photography, yes, some videos and things like that. But what you have to understand is that there will always be changes. And if you're not learning them and moving forward, you will be left behind. And it's not hard, especially if you are taking it little by little and learning the updates as they come, then it is definitely attainable. But if you hold firm and refuse to learn this and then then decide a year later or however long down the road, it's never too late to learn, of course, but it's much harder to learn when you have much more ground to cover. So, you just have to look at it and understand, okay, things are changing. We're moving forward. The world will never just stay the same. And you have to understand that if you want to move forward, you have to continue learning.
Right. Man. Couldn't have said it better myself, keep on learning, never stop learning. That's a Comfystone motto as well. So, we got that going. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bing, bang, boom, boom. Thank you, Tiffany. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. This has been Make Marketing Make Sense, brought to you by Comfystone. If you need video content for social media, your website, or email marketing, hit up Comfystone at comfystone.com and follow Comfystone on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.